Welcome back to Pastor Man Videos. Today's title is called, The Lost Son, also known as the Parable of the Prodigal Son. What does prodigal mean? The word prodigal is mysterious to us. Its basic meaning is wasteful, particularly with regard to money. This is a person who wastes his money by spending it with reckless abandon. That's what the prodigal son does in this story. Let's begin. The Lost Son, Luke chapter 15 verses 11 to 32 of the New Living Translation, NLT. To illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. A man had two sons. The younger son told his father, "I want my share of your estate now, before you die." So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons.
A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living.
About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land, and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into the fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything.
Let's pause for a moment. Before we continue with verse 17, let me pose a question. Why does Jesus tell this parable? This question is answered at the beginning of Luke chapter 15, where we read, "Now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to hear him, Jesus. And the Pharisees and the scribes murmured, saying, 'This man receives sinners and eats with them.' So he told them this parable." Actually, Jesus tells three parables: the parable of the lost sheep, the parable of the lost coin, and the parable of the lost son. All three parables are on the subject of recovering the lost, which is the implicit explanation of why Jesus receives sinners and eats with them. They are lost, and he wants to recover them. Now, let's continue. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant.' So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son.' But his father said to the servants, 'Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger, and sandals for his feet. And kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast, for this son of mine was dead, and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found.' So the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. When he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house, and he asked one of the servants what was going on. 'Your brother is back,' he was told, 'and your father has killed the fattened calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return.' The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, 'All these years I've slaved for you, and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to. And in all that time you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf.' His father said to him, 'Look, dear son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day. For your brother was dead, and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found.'" Wow, what an amazing story. Lastly, an important lesson we can learn from this parable. We can be a genuine son of the Father who is spiritually alive, and be lost through sin. We can turn our backs on our Heavenly Father, and leave Him of our own free will. Just remember, God the Father loves you. When you decide to turn back, he will run towards you with open arms. As it says in the Bible, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God over just one sinner who repents. So, let the party begin. Thank you for visiting Pastor Man Videos, and be blessed.